Okay guys, in this tutorial I want to cover the quick selection tool, and it's going to be in the set of tools underneath this magnetic polygon or magnetic lasso tool. So it's going to be right here. It looks like a little paintbrush with a little ants marching symbol, and it's also where you'll find the magic wand tool for our next tutorial. So our quick selection tool, it's right here, and pretty simple. As you can see, I just cranked my size up. So this is where you find your brushes, and of course you have the option to go all the way to 5,000 or down to 1. So I'm going to leave it right around 90, and we'll leave the hardness up at 100 for now. Of course you can feather it by keeping it a little in the less of the hardness than it already is, and mess with the spacing, angle, and roundness, blah blah blah. So if we wanted to do this, you could change the angle of what you're working with. But that's really more of a advanced type of selection. So you have three options up here for your types of selections. And I didn't want to skip over that. Yes, you have your presets option over here if you do want to save your presets. Probably not that much reason for it though for this tool. So you have three options. You have your new selection, you have your added selection, and your subtract selection. So we're going to do a new selection. I'm just going to show you quickly how this works. We're going to zoom in, and we're going to start to select her face. And did you see what it did? I only clicked once, and it automatically took the color of her skin tone and said, okay, select everything that's her skin tone. So that's what the new selection does automatically. And notice how it automatically, after I let go of my mouse button, moved me over to the added selection. So it's saying you've made your one new selection, and if you want to make another new one, it's going to get rid of this. So you might as well already be on the added selection to start adding some other things. Now if you're familiar with Adobe After Effects, you'll probably know of something called the roto brush tool. This is exactly how this quick selection tool works. It's just like a roto brush tool, except you don't get those red and green markers. What will happen is, I'm going to make this a little smaller, is as you add, so I have this selected, and as I add, it will start to follow based on colors down. And the reason it's called the quick selection tool is because they don't give you very much options in terms of tolerance and things like that. It's just at a standard default setting to add. So you can see I'm adding some of her hair into this selection, get some of her neck, and I'm clicking and dragging here, and so you'll see I'm starting to add. And let's grab some of her hat. It'll wrap around because it'll know that I want to go all the way to the white edge. And let's keep going up. Grab some more. Grab some more. And as I finish her hat over here, I'm kind of doing a messy job just to give you an idea of what this tool is actually capable of. Okay, so we pretty much got most of her hat. Let's say that we really didn't want the top of her hat, and you can see our ants marching up here, right? So let's grab our negative selection tool, and you could have done that with the, if you're holding down and you want to move over, you can hit the option button and hold it, and it'll automatically switch it to a negative, and then you can start deselecting. So you see how I'm pushing it back? Because I'm using the negative tool, and you're just saying, no, Photoshop, I am really not interested in any of this. I want to get rid of all this selection over here. This is really not my style. Sometimes it's better to go bigger if you got a lot that you want to cover, because you'll have to push it all back. It's kind of like finger painting in a way. And once you're done, you can do what you can in most of the other selection tools, which is this refine edge button. So if we click that and we zoom out, it will give us just our selection, and it'll say, okay, how do you want to view it? We can do marching ants and overlay. We could do it on black, white, We could do the black and white map, so the alpha channels, or on just a invisible layer, or we could reveal it on top of the actual layer. I personally like the on the invisible layer view. For this, we're going to use the black one though. And you'll see if we click Smart Radius, this will kind of give us a automatic softer edge, almost a watercolor featheriness, which is kind of cool. It has its purposes in editing. And then we can, of course, smooth our edge out if it's a little jagged. This one looks really bad, so I cranked it all the way up. So it's really starting to smooth that edge out. Of course, you can feather it. There you go. It's starting to feather. And if you want to do the opposite of feather, just play with your contrast, and you can kind of rein it back in. And of course, the shift edge will move your selection. Let me crank all these back down so you can see what I'm talking about. The shift edge will move your selection either in the positive or negative direction, depending on which way you move it. So if I move in the positive direction, it will select a little more, or if I move it back, it'll select a little less. And of course, when you want to put it back into your actual photo image layers, you can decontaminate colors, and you can choose how you want to output it, whether it's a new layer on a layer mask, new document, or new document with layer mask. I would always choose this new layer with layer mask and hit OK. And it's going to look at first like your other image is gone. It's not. Just go to your layers and turn on your background image, and voila. And then what you can do is, let's say we were just painting this. This is the cool part. I have my layer mask selected, so if I paint over here, it's only going to show up in my layer mask area because it's now drawn a border around it. So I'm going to Command Option Z, get back out of there. And that is pretty much it for the quick selection tool. Just remember that this is literally a quick selection tool. That means it's quick and dirty, so it's not always going to give you the best selection. But if you're in a hurry and you have a freelance project that you're working on someone and you got to do something quick, what a great option. Really moves along the process really quickly. As far as sample all layers, if you have 30 or 40 layers here and you're touching up her face and maybe taking away some acne, you're going to want to use this sample all layers to begin with, especially if you're in the final stages of editing your photograph. Otherwise, just leave that turned off. I think it's better to work on a layer by layer process. And of course, this auto enhance is Photoshop's way of just helping you along the way and allowing the computer to do some of the obvious calculations for you in case you move your mouse a little too quickly or something like that. So leave auto enhance on. And that's it for the quick selection tool.